Okay, greetings everyone. This is Sam here. Um, I recently got talking to some of you guys regarding job interviews, and it's come to my attention that this is an area perhaps there is a bit more that I can do in order to try and help you guys by way of just giving you some tips and advice on how to tackle certain generic interview questions. Now, it is possible that you are already familiar with some of these, in which case that's fine. But even if you have already prepared yourself, I think in listening to what I'm about to tell you, you might still learn something surprisingly, um, unexpectedly. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this in installments. Probably I will do like 4 or 5 installments. So today, what you see here is the first installment, which has around 6 questions. I will put out some more in the coming weeks. I think this is a good time. Um, some of these questions are either sourced from websites. There's one particular investment bank. They actually were kind enough to pose some questions that they typically would ask candidates, at least behavioral questions that the HR department, so not the technical part, just behavioral. Um, and I will also add some other ones that are a result of actually talking to some of you, and then some of you guys were asking me, "Oh, how would you answer this? How would you answer that?" Okay, so I'm gonna try and do that too. Okay, now let's start with this page. So I'm gonna try and tackle these ones. I know they may look easy to you. The questions look easy, but to answer them well, uh, there may well be things that you have not thought about, and this is the key purpose of these videos here. Okay, now first one, uh, tell me about yourself is likely the question that a lot of interviewers would start with, and it looks simple, but I am surprised actually just talking to some of you that an open question like that quite often can easily throw you out of balance because there's so much you can say, you don't really know where to start and where to stop. Okay, my advice is you have to keep your answers fairly precise and short and sharp and to the point at all times, no matter what you are asked. And then if the uh, interviewer wants to dig deeper, he or she actually will, give you that indication. So always try and give a short answer and then a slightly longer one, um, of anywhere from 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That's enough. Okay, and then if they want to take it further, then they will ask you. Okay, they'll give you a response. Do not feel you have to pour out everything when you answer a question. Okay, it's a lot better to be able to answer 5 questions in 10 minutes, 5 questions of different nature, than to over answer one question and take 10 minutes because you feel that you have to. Okay, now let me just play you a couple of videos regarding question one. Okay, so this is the first one that I'd like to play you regarding. It's only 1 minute long. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Brian Krieger with collegegrad.com, and this is the Job Search Minute. Here's another tough interview question. Tell me about yourself. It seems like an easy question. Open-ended. I can
talk about whatever I want from the birth canal forward, right? Wrong. What the hiring manager really wants is a quick 2 to 3 minute snapshot of who you are and why you're the best candidate for this position. So as you answer this question, talk about what you've been doing to prepare yourself to be the very best candidate for the position. Use an example or two to back it up. Then ask if they would like more details. If they do, keep giving them example after example of your background and experience. Always point back to an example when you have the opportunity. Tell me about yourself does not mean tell me everything. Just tell me about what makes you the best. This has been the Job Search Minute. For more career information, please visit collegegrad.com.
Okay, it's very true what he just said. So you shouldn't really, you should always avoid talking about personal stuff. If your pet rabbit just died, okay, this is not something that the interviewer wants to know. It's mostly tell me about yourself as a potential employee of this company and as possibly the best candidate for this job. Tell me about yourself, in that regard. I'll show you another video which gives an interesting bad example of the wrong way to answer this question. Okay, now this one is only 90 seconds long.
Why don't you tell me about yourself? Hi and welcome to Video Jog. I'm Ricky Hansen from Career Concierge and I'm going to show you how to most effectively handle the kind of questions you're most likely to get asked in an interview.
Why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?
What they're really asking is for you to present yourself in the best possible light, to give them your selling points for this particular role. What they don't want to hear is about your life outside of work or what you do outside of work.
Well, I love coming home to watch EastEnders at the end of the day. It's like my highlight. I also like shopping, chilling with my friends, just having a laugh, really.
What they do want to hear is that you've actually read through the job description and that you know what they're looking for and you can show them that you got it. So tell them about yourself in a professional context.
Well, I've got an intricate knowledge of this industry and I have a number of potential clients that I could bring to this company.
Think of yourself as a product. Why should people buy you? So don't just tell, sell.
I have a strong track record in sales and in fact, with my last company, I boosted their sales by 15%.
Good luck.
Okay, the actual responses from that lady, even the right ones, are a little bit snappy. But when you answer this question, you probably want to just give an overview of your education or your internships, where you came from, and whether you got some awards and stuff like that. Now, the second question: why did you choose your place of study? Now, obviously, this is a very personal one. You ask 100 people, you get 100 different answers. I tend to think that you ought to, if there's something very outstanding, very distinguished about your place of study, you feel free to mention that. If there are some distinguished alumni that have come from that place that might have given you the inspiration, say it. Okay, try to make a connection. If it is because you wanted to leave your hometown and go somewhere where you can try to develop your independence, that's also a good motive too. What you probably shouldn't say is you went somewhere just because your friends went there, because it doesn't sound very convincing, unless the reason behind is that it has a very good reputation and so on, which I hope Chinese university is a good example of. Okay, so just be careful about this this question, that it should give the interviewer the impression that you have a sense of purpose behind it. Okay, now for question 3, what courses have you least enjoyed and why? I think you got to be a bit careful with this one. If your undergrad degree, okay, now let's say you were going to talk about your undergrad, and if you majored in something, if you majored in finance and then you minored in philosophy or whatever, then perhaps you can say that some of your least enjoyed courses were in your philosophy minor, because it's not relevant to your key subject. However, at all times, I think you do need to be careful, even if you are going to talk about philosophy, because they will start asking you why. And if you were going to say things like, "Oh, this course was too wordy," or "Oh, that course was too quantitative," or "Oh, this course was too theoretical," or "That course was too demanding on my memory." All of those things are very likely to give a rather bad impression to the interviewer. So these are things that you should avoid saying. And "Oh, I don't like that course. It was too quantitative. I don't like that course because it was too much description." Now, I guess if you think one level deeper, if you heard what I just said, it also means that maybe you shouldn't have these attitudes. If I'm advising you not to say these things to an interviewer, and I'm sure you'd agree with me, then indirectly I'm advising you not to have these kind of attitudes in your heart either. But anyway, so maybe you can say, you can talk about some courses that are not directly relevant to your major, or not relevant to finance. Correspondingly, you can talk about some courses that you might have taken that you like. What courses have you most enjoyed that you like, that are not finance courses? For example, maybe you took some courses in psychology, okay, or you took some courses in finance, in history, okay, and you found that it was possible to apply what you learned there in the world of finance. Uh, it is often true, this, okay. Another safe approach is, if you had to talk about courses, you could just about say, "Oh, there is this course that I didn't really enjoy, and the reason was that I found it too easy, or it was not challenging enough." As long as you say that in a sincere manner, and keep being humble, that would be possibly another way to deal with a question like that. Okay. Now, talk me through your internship experiences. This is a good one. If you have had some internship experiences. Now, in the past, I have interviewed a lot of candidates, and they really put down fantastic material on their CV about what they've done in an internship, and you see that the internship was only like 6 to 8 weeks. I think anyone who's worked in an office in the corporate world would know that you can't really do that much in 6 to 8 weeks. So it's important, I think, to keep things in a proper perspective. I think the best way to talk about an internship is to think about the actual the key points, or the milestones that you might have come across during your time there, no matter how long or how short it is. What have you actually done there? A, B, C, D, E. Did you manage to complete? Was there like a long-term or medium-term goal that you were assigned? Did you complete any projects, or did you help to accomplish or finish anything tangible, which ended up improving, the overall work process? Um, did you encounter any difficulties or any problems? Did you maybe work with difficult colleagues? Although that's a question that you probably want to just save up your sleeve, unless they were to ask you. So I would because an internship is so short, and often the purpose is ill-defined. If it's ill-defined, you have to end up defining it yourself in terms of things that happen or did not happen, or things that succeeded or things that failed, and so on. Okay. Um, Let me show you. There's an interesting uh, video that I came across a while ago regarding um, Elon Musk, who's the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. Seems quite a nice guy. And there's a question that he often asks candidates in an interview, and you listen to what he has to say. Okay, you listen carefully. Okay, the interview is, or the clip is here. No, actually it's here. Okay, so I'm going to play this. So this is how Elon Musk can tell if job applicants are lying about their experience. Okay, don't lie about your internship. Please do not do that. These are managers, they're professionals, they've been around for 10, 15, 20 years. If you lie, they can tell within 10, 15, 20 seconds. Okay, so listen to what Elon Musk has to say.
So the question was basically, you are a rocket scientist, but how did you actually learn how to build rockets?
I mean, this may sound silly, but I read books and talk to people. I mean, that's kind of how one learns anything. There's lots of great books out there, and there's lots of smart people. And of course, I mean, we've got a team of really, really great people at SpaceX and Tesla. And we've got world experts in propulsion, structural design, avionics, software, launch operations, that kind of thing. And likewise at Tesla. So, if you just talk to the people on your team, you can learn a tremendous amount. And then as you iterate through problems, it's kind of like almost anything. When you struggle with a problem, that's when you understand it. And that's, so once you've done that for 11 years now in the case of SpaceX, or 10 in the case of Tesla, then you have a pretty good grasp of it. In fact, that's one of the ways when I interview someone to work at the companies would be to ask them to tell me about the problems that they worked on and how they solved them. And if someone was really the person that solved it, they'll be able to answer multiple levels. They'll be able to go down to the brass tacks. And if they weren't, they'll get stuck. And then you can say, oh, this person was not really the person who solved it, because anyone who struggled hard with a problem never forgets it.
Okay. So you heard him there. It's very true. Actually, the last 20 seconds were what I was referring to. That if you are able to talk about not just success, but also a failure, and why it failed and the problems you encountered, if you're able to go deep, that indicates that you probably were the person, the chief architect behind it. Now, question number 5, what are your interests and hobbies outside academic? I often get asked by people whether this is so important. For me personally, I pay some attention to it myself, because I think if every candidate comes to you with good grades and good GPA and good profile, good attitude, then what really distinguishes them and make them human beings and make them different are, what other things do they do? You may well have, a very, very uh, esoteric or unusual hobby. I remembered a couple of years ago I came across there was a student who specialized in Chinese classical opera. I mean, he was a performer in that, and I thought, oh wow, okay, this person. So I, assuming that to be true, and you wouldn't want to lie just about something like that. This person, probably has some depth and culture to take up something so unusual. Um, my advice to you is think about this a little bit, and if people ask you, do you have any interests or hobbies? If you say no, that wouldn't be very good, because it makes you sound like a very, boring person. I would advise that you don't just say, "Oh, I enjoy reading," or "I enjoy listening to music," or going to cinema. These are not hobbies, okay? These are just leisurely activities for you to kill time. Hobby for me is something that should occupy your not just consume your time, but occupies your mind, and you should have to spend time to think about it. So anything I think to do with playing a musical instrument, for example, anything to do with sports. If you have some outstanding sport achievements, if you were a member of the school team in whatever sport, that's a good start. If you like mountaineering, then that also tells the employer that you are probably a person, with a good degree of physical fitness, for instance. But it should be something that you need to spend a little time on. Um, and you might be wondering, well, what if I don't have any hobbies? Well, I don't know how I can help you there. I'm not suggesting that the for the purpose of your career development, you should go and get one. Although acquiring a hobby surely is a very pleasurable thing to do. So strongly recommended. Um, but quite often, from I guess um, when I'm talking like this, um, I am often speaking, from the point of view of someone on the other side, who is a manager, and what how would they perceive, answers to questions like that. And someone who tells me that they play the piano for 10 years and can prove it, okay, I would give that, some weight, or some attention. Someone who was a champion in college in a particular sport, or someone who was the chairperson of debating society, or I mean, that can be a hobby if you really have a high profile list, participation in that. Although debating society is not a good example, that probably wouldn't come under hobby. Okay, so sports and music are the things that come to mind. Now, question 6: what are the most important things to you in a job? Now, for a question like that, there are a lot of different possible responses. So there's no sample answer. It really depends on your own character. I would say though that in answering this question, you do give you are giving away to the interviewer some idea regarding your own your own values or what really motivates you, what gets you out of bed in the morning, which in itself can be an interview question. Okay, but the things that I can think of are the things that are important to you in a job. I think it should be the job should be interesting. No one's going to argue about that. um, some people like a job where they can get recognition for their effort. Um, and some people like a job where it allows them room for creativity, and allows them to be deeply involved in improving the business or the firm or the process. Um, some people like a job which is challenging, which I think is fine. Um, Obviously, people like a job with good prospects. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's very natural. People react to incentives. Um, Good answers, I think, could also include things like, okay, what's important to me in a job? My working relationship with my colleagues and my boss are important, and they are. Okay. Um, a job that is important to me can be one which is rewarding both intellectually, so you feel you feel a sense of fulfillment, or it can be financially rewarding. Okay, don't be shy. Okay, about um, the financial rewards. I think you don't have to swing from one extreme to another, and what I mean by that is you don't have to come out and say to the interviewer, oh, I love money. Okay, that would be one extreme. Okay, the other extreme would be to say, oh, money doesn't matter, and I'm not really here for the cash. Well, who are you kidding? Okay, I wouldn't want to hire someone who says that. Um, just strike the middle ground. Okay, and you say that I find finance and banking a very rewarding career path, both intellectually and financially. And you really have to believe in that when you say it. Okay, I think that's okay. You don't have to be shy about the financial reward. Um, some people say that for them stability is an important thing. Uh, that one you got to be a bit careful because sometimes I think the interviewer can challenge you and say, well, what if there is instability, in your job? What are you going to do then? Then you kind of stuck. Okay, so I tend to be a bit careful. Whatever answer that you're going to give, try to think about whether it is possible for the interviewer to come back and challenge you. Okay, if you say you're looking for a job which is rewarding with good prospects, I don't think anyone really can challenge you, or a job that calls for creativity. And if for you a job, an important the important thing in a job is your relationship with your colleagues and your boss. And for me, I do believe in that. Then who can say, no, that I don't think so. You know. So I hope this is helpful. This is the first installment. There will be some more coming. Um, so if you have some other interview questions that you have encountered, and you're wondering, what might be a good way to handle, and I have a few more in my archive that I will deal with later. So feel free to send them to me, and I'll try to have a look. Okay, thank you. Hope it's helping you. Bye-bye.